Okay. Wait. Okay, I think we're good. Wow. That hits the spot. Okay. Well, where to begin? I don't even know. Um, because the last time I did this was last week sometime. But, anyways, I didn't do it because I was a little uncomfortable with it. And that's kind of the whole purpose of this is being uncomfortable. So here I am doing another one. Um, I think I think this week has been overall good. Um, mentally, I think that's the challenge with a lot of things for. I can't say everyone, but everyone's got their issues and stuff. Um, but I think overall it's been a solid week. I'm working like some of the things I'm working on are just not beating myself up so much, not being like I mean I know we're our own worst critic and stuff, but um, and I think that's fine to an extent, but when you're mentally bullying yourself, you kind of become your own worst enemy. When really, like, if you don't have anyone, you have at least yourself to be there for you. And I think I was just falling short of that. So I think part of why I'm doing what it is that I'm doing is actually to be there for myself. So here I am doing this again. Try not to make it as weird as humanly possible, even though it's probably not as weird as I'm thinking it is. Still, it's an awkward thing, I think. So, anyways, I think last time I was working on something in here, I was working on this jointer, but I'm still struggling getting the last strip bolt out. So, um, last time, or the couple things I've been working on still is organizing. I got a bunch of trim routers from my buddy slash chiropractor, who's been super helpful. He's got some tools that he's inherited. He's passed along to me that I'm trying to sell to actually upgrade a few things in my shop. So I got 5 of these little like R2D2 router looking things. I already have a DeWalt one over here. That's like a half inch. I'm turning into like I don't know. I found a couple things to make my own router table. But that's a work in progress. I got the tabletop is glued to the base. I'll just show you. Eh. Let's get. Yep. Okay. So found all of this. I got the top of this is actually a kitchen countertop that someone replaced. I garbage picked or whatever. It's actually perfectly fine. There was no holes in it, no cracks, no nothing. So it's a nice, clean, slick surface to route on. And then I got another thing that I found while working that I glued to the top. So I have a couple holes cut for it. I just need to get some countersinks so I can actually attach the this router and get some screws in here to hold it up underneath. And then I found another thing, and I was actually looking for casters. So this actually has some casters that are in pretty decent condition and they lock, so it's not gonna slide around on me. And if they don't work, whatever, I'll figure something out. But it was free. If anything, I'll find something to do with that, and then I'll just pick what I need off of this, and then probably just burn the rest. Um, so yeah, that is what I'm talking about with that stuff. Um, anyways, I'm trying to just knock out little things at a time. I got big projects, bigger projects, little tiny projects that I've been working on. So smaller ones are getting these tools listed, clean them up a little bit because they do work, they do turn on, but they've been sitting in dust-in gun for a long time. I got a Camaro that I'm going to be selling that I've been detailing for the last week or so. I mean, I clean it every now and then, but it's been sun baking for the last, I don't know. My sister had it, my mom had it, my grandma had it, and now it just sits here. And though it'd be cool to have, it's like a special edition, whatever. So it would just be better to sell it. So that's what I'm working on. Otherwise, if it wasn't that, I would probably just keep it, modify it, have fun with it, what have you. But I think I've come to the conclusion that I don't want to do that. Even though I'm a Camaro guy, I like Camaros. One day, I mean, I can get a Camaro again. Really, what I need, or / want, is something more like a truck. Our neighbor over here has a Toyota Tacoma, which is something that I'd love to get. Relatively cheap, easy to maintain. Parts are pretty cheap for it. There's a bunch of them out there, reliable. And then, like I said, I mean, I go around and I find stuff that people get rid of that I could potentially use, because there's a lot of value in taking the extra time to, make things kind of your own, clean stuff up, and I don't know. Some people don't like doing that. I personally like doing it. That's kind of why I have a bunch of, I guess what some people would call junk in here. But I think it's fun and interesting, and there's stuff you can do with it. I know my sisters are kind of similar in that way too. Anyways, a couple other little things. I got these. I like cast irons, and I find that I've been finding out more and more recently, like the icky bad stuff with Teflon, and I don't like the idea of it. I think having a nonstick pan, I think there's a way to do it that isn't so bad, but ultimately I'd rather work with something like cast iron because it's highly durable. Some people I know don't like it just because of maintenance and whatever. I'm cool with the maintenance. I take pride in it. So I got this one. I actually need to clean up a bit. This is slightly bigger than I would like, but it's still not bad. I got my buddy Scott has an even bigger one in his house, but that's a little. I mean, it's good for what it is, but for like handling, like cast iron's heavy, so like this is, you gotta have a lot of grip strength, wrist strength to maneuver these. What I'd really like to get is a smaller one. I have a smaller one inside, but it's not a pan. It's more just a flat iron, but it's the size that I'd like to get. And then I got this burger press here. Lodge, all the cast irons I have are Lodge, and Lodge makes really good cast iron things for relatively cheap. It's really good, in my opinion. It's really good bang for the buck. It's pretty quality, heavy duty, seems to retain everything. There's no real deformities in it. The only thing that I've come across, even watching some other videos, is the finish on them is a little rough. And if you are willing to take the time to just sand it down, just to get it a little flatter, a little more smooth, like you're still going to have the porousy surface to it, but it'll make it a little flatter, a little smoother, and that'll help it from sticking to things. So like with this burger press, I would have to really work on, or really get underneath like the burger patty to like scrape it off. I don't know. It's like these weird little nitpicky things, and then they're notorious for surface rust. But at the same time, it's just surface rust. And if you just buy just a scrub pad and you just use, like, I found that using soap and water, like, it's, when you get a finish on here, soap and water isn't really gonna eat away at it. It's gonna be pretty resilient as long as you do it right. Even if it's just kind of whatever, like, it doesn't have to be perfect. And it depends on what you're going for, the stuff you're trying to cook, how in depth you're really trying to go with it. But like, these are pretty resilient. I'd love to find some older ones. I don't know, like there's old Griswold and what's the other one? There are older Lodge ones, but Griswold and Wagner are some of the older ones from like literally like nearly probably 100 years ago or more. I'm not even sure when. I'm not sure when they actually came out originally. But anyways, I think it's really cool. I'd like to find like some old ones and just kind of repurpose old things and like bring them back to life and get some use out of them or make it a little more my own. I think there's something cool in it. And sometimes I'll go to my friend's house and I'll cook at their place. I personally like bringing my own stuff just because I don't know. I think it makes it a little more special in a way, a little more unique or whatever. And also, I get to use stuff that I know. I don't have to worry about what it is that they have at their house, unless you're Scott and Megan, and I know exactly what you have in your entire kitchen, basically already. So, anyways, yeah, I don't know, it might be a little hard to see from over there, but this is kind of like the regular surface. I got some surface rust on here that I'm just gonna knock down real quick, and then this is what it looks like afterwards. I need to clean it. I think you can use like acetone or nail polish remover, stuff like that, but you really want to clean it with something. I don't know, like I'll do that. I'll acetone it just to get it all like super clean, and then I'll use soap and water on top of that, and then I'll throw it in the oven at max temperature, which our oven goes to 550 degrees, and then just to get it all, like everything blown out of it, everything's super dry, and then I'll take it out. Be very careful because these retain a lot of heat, which is also why I like them a lot. They retain heat very well. They can go into ovens. You don't have to worry about shit, basically. And then I've experimented with different oils. Essentially, you just want like a high temperature oil to start seasoning these with, and seasoning just means, I always thought when I heard the word seasoning, and like seasoning like a steak or chicken with like salt, pepper, garlic, whatever. Seasoning on this is creating a coat on the part that you're using to actually cook. So like there's a seasoning that'll go on this part that is the press. There's a seasoning that'll go on in the bottom of this pan, and that'll create basically what that Teflon nonstick layer would be. And if you do it right, you can get these essentially also to nonstick as well. There's just a little more maintenance that goes into it, but there's not all the bad chemicals. So I tried like high temp olive oil. There's grapeseed oil, which is the newest one that I'm trying, which supposedly is one of the better ones for doing something like this. And I've done it to my other pan in there, and it seems to work really well. But I'm going to work on it with this, and then there's I don't know, you got like avocado oil, corn seed oil, sunflower oil. Just find something that's high temperature, not high, well, high temp, sure, but like high temperature rating, whatever the hell. So yeah. Anyways, what else do we got? I don't know. I worked today, obviously, but yeah, it's I don't know. Things have been a lot better. Things have been interesting. Things have been, I think, I think I'm doing better. Because the thing I struggle with is kind of being all over the place in my head, and I think since after the first time me doing this, I don't remember exactly how I explained it then, but it's kind of like having a bunch of shaky water. I think this is how I did explain it in the last video, but like you gotta like ocean water where there's just tidal waves and currents, and it's very shaky, chaotic water, which is usually like kind of where I go in my head when I'm working throughout the day or just throughout my day in general, and not really talking about stuff. That doing this, at least last time, kind of helped. It kind of brought a bunch of stuff out. I got to kind of say what I wanted to say or talk about what I was just kind of thinking, just, I don't know, kind of get it out of my head. Kind of calm the waters a bit. So, yeah, I think that's kind of the idea with this. I know it sucks. Like, sure, all that stuff sucks, but these videos suck. And that's kind of what I was fearful of. But at the same time, you gotta start somewhere, because I gotta figure out, like, I don't, it's, um, you gotta start walking to get out of the forest. And if you just stand there and do nothing, you're never gonna get out of the forest. So, you gotta start somewhere. I don't know who said that saying originally. I know I butchered it, but I think you get kind of the idea. So I'm just starting to, do stuff. And I think, at least to start, like maybe it's not a bad idea to do this, which is like have a few different channels, where it was like, I don't know, restoring stuff in one channel, disc golf stuff on another channel, candle making on another channel, like a seek discomfort thing on another channel. I think, at least for now, just keep it all under one channel until maybe it later on makes sense to be separated. But I think it kind of makes sense to kind of have it all under this umbrella, and then experiment, see what videos work, what videos don't work, but ultimately just kind of keep doing stuff, because Amanda and I, my girlfriend, we were doing ice baths for a while. It's been a while since we've done an ice bath. We do have an ice machine thanks to my sister Lexi, so thank you very much for that. But at the same time, it doesn't make enough ice to cool down the big tub that we have, especially with summer here in Michigan. Not only does it get pretty damn hot, it gets pretty humid. So it takes quite a bit of ice, and I want to figure out something for that. I have like a long-term one that I want to do. It's quite expensive. The next step I want to take is likely just buying a big, like, refrigerator-sized freezer or deep freezer type thing. I have a bunch of plastic totes I'd fill up with water and just throw them in there to essentially have these giant blocks of ice. And if it gets cold enough, it should freeze everything pretty much overnight. So that way we have hopefully enough ice to do one in the morning and then get home from work and kind of do the same thing, is the idea. That would be way less expensive, way more cost effective than we used to buy, like the 10 pound bags of ice from Kroger or whatever, which it's not a lot of money, but at the same time, when you're doing that every day, like, that's a lot of money a week just to hop in and get one, maybe two plunges out of that. So I would rather spend the money to have something more long term, and then long term, I want to do, there's a water cycler filtration system thing. It's like $500 or something, but essentially you can set it to whatever temperature you want, and it just cycles the water through that and just makes it colder and colder and colder until it hits the temperature that you want, and then it keeps it at that temperature, which I think is awesome. But again, $500. So the next step, a freezer thing. I'll probably find one on Facebook or something. I've seen them on there for, like, working ones for $100. They don't look too pretty, but as long as they work, that's all I really care about, honestly. And then later on, just upgrading from there. There's no sense in, like, if I'm gonna buy a deep freezer for $300 or something new, I might as well spend another $200 on top of that to get that other thing. I can justify spending $100 to upgrade what we have now. So we would have the ice machine we got for free, and then another thing of ice, and then that would probably last us until it was time to upgrade from there. So yeah, my point with that being, I'd like to do more plunges, and doing something with that, stay more consistent with that. Though I have, personally, Amanda hasn't herself, because I understand why they kind of suck. It's a little different. But taking cold showers, you kind of get the same feeling from it, the same-ish benefits. It's not quite the same, because depending on how cold your shower gets, but there's a difference between having water hit and run off you that's cold versus being, like, fully engulfed by really cold water, which is something that I really like and I really want to do. So that's kind of the plan, is doing more of those, stay consistent with that. I think there is something to it. I don't think it's just a fad. I do think it is a way, in reality, it's a way of meditation, and because it kind of forces me, at least for myself, my own experience, it forces all of like my head going a million miles an hour in every single direction. It kind of forces everything to come back into like one single point and just focus on like breathing and being here in this uncomfortable situation. And it's really nice, like it's really refreshing, but it is like a mentally hard thing to do versus a physically hard thing to do. Not that it isn't physically hard, but I find it a little more mentally challenging. But once you complete it, I mean, you get to say you did something that was tough. And it's, I don't know, I really like it. I understand why other people wouldn't like doing it, wouldn't want to try it, but even still, I would say give it a shot. But I don't know, you do you. I'm trying to do stuff and learn, branch out a little bit, um, stop holding myself back. That's kind of one thing where I don't know, I do a good job of stopping myself from doing stuff, and I'm trying to stop doing that to to myself, because I know it's only just hurting me. So anyways, there's that. There's other videos. So like in disc golf land, I have bins of discs. Like they're all in bins, they're all out of bins, they're kind of everywhere. Um, I feel like I have a decent knowledge of disc golf, and there's some things that I'd like to share that I don't think uh, maybe a whole lot of people know, or maybe only a select few people know. But in talking with a couple friends of mine, they were saying, like, I mean, they said they'd be interested in doing some videos. So really, it might just be one of them. This goes back a while, but figuring out what you're looking for in a disc. At least in my personal experience, when I'm looking for a disc. Let me see if this is recording still. Okay, cool. It's still recording, and we're only like 20 minutes in, which is sweet. Um, Say for like a distance driver, which are much more finicky in shape and look and feel and this and that and whatever. Going from overstable to stable to understable, kind of what that means, at least to me in my head. And then why I'm looking for those kinds of discs versus something else, or if I find something that randomly like kind of catches my eye. There are little nuances to things that I think I find it hard to believe that someone else wouldn't really like that as well for themselves, but to each their own. But also, I mean, I think it might be something cool. I don't know. I'd like to share that, because disc golf, even though it's been a while since I've gone disc golfing, it still lingers in my mind. It is still something that I do have love and passion for. Um, like, I don't know, maybe doing this gets some sort of traction, and maybe the disc golf stuff kind of takes off, and then I can do more of it, which is kind of the idea. Um, like, but that's long term, that's big picture. Right now, it's just creating content, being a little more consistent with it. I know I haven't been very consistent. Maybe I've made some videos where I didn't really follow up on. These last couple years have been pretty tough after, honestly, losing my mom. Um, it's it's very wild and surreal, um, but how long am I gonna let that stop me from doing other things that I'd like to do? Not that it doesn't suck or whatever, but at the same time, the world doesn't stop. Everything keeps going, and I have to, more or less, I have to adapt to that. So, um, again, I guess that's another reason kind of why I'm doing this. So, anyways, um, yeah. It's funny. So the last thing, and then I'm just gonna, because I'm not gonna really be able to talk while I'm working on this, and this won't take long. I'll film it, so maybe you can have an idea of what it looks like before and after, whatever. Um, but I think I've only done this a couple times before, which was a thing called Good, Bad, Funny, and that was something our mom would do. And then it was funny because my sister today said, "You know what you should do," and then she said, "You should do a Good, Bad, Funny." So, um, and it was basically, maybe I'll throw in something else in there too. Now that I think about it, because I heard someone else say that this is what they do. Not anyone. Rudy from Alpha Investments. If you don't know who he is, I highly recommend checking him out. I personally really like the content that he puts out. I like his ideas. I like his way of thinking. I think he has good. I think he has really good content. I think he has really good thinking skills. I think he has a good outlook on a lot of things. And there's things that I resonate with that I recently have maybe more concrete thinking after actually hearing what it is they have to say, because I thought I was the only one thinking a certain way. Anyways, one of his things he was saying at the end of the day was, "What did you learn today?" Which I thought was a really cool thing. So, good, bad, funny. What did you learn today? So, a good thing today is, and I'm not going to be able to do this every time, but obviously a good thing for me today is that I'm currently recording a video, which is something that I know that I've been wanting to do for a long, long time. Bad thing today, I don't know. It was really, really humid today. It wasn't really that hot, but it rained off and on today, like 5 separate times, and it made it like low mid 80s, and it what felt like 100% humidity, and being outside all day kind of made it a little brutal and grueling. Um, Funny thing today, I don't know. I had two people get upset with me because I was like I'm working and I drive a step van, so I drive a bigger thing, and I don't know. Someone got two people got mad at me. One person got mad because I turned around in someone's driveway, which, I mean, I guess I can understand to a degree, but at the same time, I'm trying to do my route. I'm mindful. I don't like fly up and down people's driveways. I don't slam my van into their driveways trying to crack the concrete or anything like that. I'm mindful not to drive on anyone's lawn. Um, but we also have to follow our GPS, and so my next stop made me have to turn around, and this lady, she was like shaking her head mad, and was like, "Just go around the block or whatever." And it's like, I didn't say it. I just went on my way. But I'm thinking, like, if I go all the way around the block every time I have to do that, it's gonna make the route that much longer. Um, and I don't have time for that. And most Amazon drivers, at least at our company, we have 190 to 200 stops on average. Some people a little less than that because they have higher package counts and are in much tougher areas like Birmingham. Um, like today I had Birmingham, but I think I had 185 stops, 411 packages, where like a normal route for other areas is going to be between 250 to 320 packages, and over 300 is like a pretty heavy amount. So having over 400 is a lot. Um, so like, yeah, I'm trying to get hours, I'm trying to get work, but also we have to be done by a certain time. We're not trying to get yelled at by our boss or anything like that. So and then uh, another later on in the day, I went to go rescue someone, help them out essentially, and I was turning into an or I was following the GPS. I turned into an apartment complex. Realized as I'm doing the turn that, oh, I can't go here because there's low clearance. I'm so high up, whatever. Then I'm just like, all right, I'm just gonna turn around right here real quick. It took me all of like 15 seconds to just make the turn. Couldn't make the turn all the way, back up a little bit, and then just, make the left out. But as I'm making the turn, there's a dude behind me, and I'm like, oh, And as I'm making the turn to just make like a 3 point turn real quick, I'm not even in the main road. I'm off, like I'm in the drive to the apartment complex doing this, and I'm trying to be quick because I'm mindful because I saw there was someone turning behind me. There's other cars around, whatever. Anyways, as I'm making the turn, I see this dude is cussing up a storm at me. He is so pissed. He's yelling at me. He's giving me the finger, and I'm just like, dude, like it didn't. I just made the turn. Like I just made the turn. I'm trying to get out of your way, and like what good is that gonna do? Like I don't understand. Like I get like dude, traffic can drive people nuts. It drives me nuts at times too. But like, I'm just trying to do my job. You see, I'm in a work van, and just maybe maybe just chill out, dude. So yeah, I don't know. And before that would probably affect me a lot differently. But at least today, I can say it didn't really affect me at all, and I was able to just laugh it off. And I guess that can tie in a little bit to what I learned today is that I don't have to let everything affect me if I don't want it to, and that's something that I'm working on. A lot to do with family and past history, whatever. I hold on to that for whatever reason because it's I think I've been wronged. Um, there's stuff I want to talk about to try to get some sort of understanding and like in hopes of moving it into a direction of having a better relationship because that's how I see a better relationship um, being developed, I guess you could say, is by talking about this stuff. But there's been so many times where I try to talk about that stuff, and it's probably me, and I don't deliver it well, I don't talk about it well, and it kind of hinders that. And it's not like this is a new thing. It's gone on for a long time. That it might just be to the point where it's what are you what are you gonna do? How many times are you gonna try? Is it even worth it? Because at this point, and even into the past, it's ultimately, I guess, just gotten in the way of doing other things. But I guess I didn't really understand that then. Maybe I understand it better now. Maybe I didn't want to understand it then, and I was hoping for something different back then. And I guess I kind of do now, but even still, kind of with along the same lines of my mom having passed. What can you do about it? It sucks and it's bad and it's not like we had the greatest relationship either, but that's besides the point. It still just sucks, and it's a tough thing to deal with. But at the same time, it's no one else's issue because it's the thing I'm dealing with is between her and I. So I could either keep letting it eat away at me or whatever and stop it, more or less, I guess, using that as an excuse to stop doing stuff I don't know, being sad and maybe depressed or whatever and then using that as a reason to not come into the garage and work out, not take care of myself that much or at all. And I'm trying to change that. Because I know what I need to do, but at the same time, there's the things where this kind of gets in the way, and then I don't know if it's necessarily feeling sorry for self, but just feeling sad that makes it that much more difficult to maybe follow through with some things. But at the same time, I do know that there's a perspective to it too. So not everyone's gonna feel like that, I don't think, because there's all right. Well, now that this has happened, what are you gonna do about it? How are you gonna live your life with it? And I think there is a way to live a happy, fulfilling life because ultimately everyone's parents are gonna die. But hopefully, and for all of you, if your parents are still around, hopefully they live a long, happy, healthy life until they're much, till they're elderly, and they don't prematurely pass. Though tragically that does happen. Yeah, tragically that does happen. So, anyways, so yeah, those are just a couple things I've learned. Is learning to have a different perspective on things. And if I'm having a similar perspective that is kind of like my old way of thinking, trying to notice that and move towards this other way of thinking not so I can not be holding myself back all these times or all this time or however you want to word it. So anyways, if you've made it this far into watching me ramble, I think I'll get better over time. I know I'll get better over time in doing this. It just takes practice and getting comfortable with it. It's not going to be perfect, but I'll figure it out, you know. And if these aren't successful in viewership, that's fine, because their success in it's done, you know. So like I can find comfort and find happiness in that success today. So I get to say that I woke up today, I showered this morning, I got to work on time, I got a work day in, got 9.5 hours in today. I filmed this video. Hopefully I don't shoot myself in the foot and not upload it, so I'm gonna try to hold myself to that and have it uploaded today, which is the 12th or 13th. I'm not sure, but I don't have to edit it other than trimming the front and back of this, and then I'll just throw it up there as like raw, uncut, unfiltered video, and then I am gonna knock this out. I'll probably knock off the top rust a little bit here, just to get it a little nicer finish. And I'm just curious to see what it would look like, because even if I mess it up, it's still gonna work. It's cast iron. It's not like I'm gonna accidentally, break it. And I will be successful today. I will be able to say I was successful today because I got more than just a couple things done today. So, yeah. So, thank you for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah. I guess enjoy watching a cast iron get refurbished, restored, fixed up. I don't know, before and after, whatever. smoother. Go up to 120 to kind of finish it out and get the sides a little. much smoother. So I have a nice contact. Since I don't have flame, it's just induction, but that'll be a lot nicer. Alright. That. Maybe some people don't like the look of that. I do. There's a lot of gunk and whatever that I'm gonna have to clean and bake off, but that'll be alright. But yeah, that's gonna be it's so much smoother. Like, this is the original coating, which is really rough, but on the edges, I mean, it doesn't matter. I'll probably touch that up at some point, but I'm okay with not right now. This is all the important stuff. So I don't know, I personally like it, and that's what, I don't know, 20 minutes worth of work. I'm gonna take it inside, wash it off real good with some dish soap and stuff, and then I'll throw it in the oven and bake everything out. I'll wash it again, then bake everything out, and then I'll start seasoning it, and that's really going to be the longest process of everything. So yeah, sweet.